Elias Kane was not the kind of man anyone expected to be remembered. He was born in the mining colony of Borealis 9 on Mars, one of the hundreds of domes scattered across the planet where humanity dug for ore to feed the industries of Earth. His life was a cycle of sweat and silence. Wake up in his cramped habitation pod, suit up, descend into the shafts, and spend endless hours chipping away at redstone. His pay was meager, barely enough to cover oxygen rations and food credits, yet Elias endured, because beneath the dirt of his hands and the fatigue, in his bones lived a stubborn will. He wasn't a dreamer, not anymore. He had once wanted to see the stars, to command ships like the captains he saw in the news feeds, but fate had buried him deep underground, or so he thought. Mars was a strange place, beautiful from orbit but cruel to those who lived on its surface. The air was thin, the storms fierce, and the gravity forever reminded humans that they were not in their natural home. But what unsettled Elias most were the tremors. For years, miners had complained about unusual vibrations beneath the ground. Some said it was natural tectonic shifts. Others whispered that Mars was hiding something alive beneath its crust. Whenever Elias was alone in the shafts, he felt those vibrations more clearly than anyone else. They weren't random. They had rhythm, like a heartbeat waiting to be heard. On an ordinary shift, as his drill struck deeper into a vein of crystal ore, the rock gave way, revealing a cavern unlike anything recorded. The walls shimmered with strange geometric patterns that pulsed with faint light. The cavern seemed to hum, a low resonance that echoed through Elias's bones. His fellow miners panicked, shouting over the comms to seal the shaft and report to the supervisors. But Elias could not move. He stood frozen, staring into the living glow of the chamber. His instincts screamed danger, but his curiosity roared louder. He stepped forward, brushing his fingers against one of the glowing symbols. The instant he touched it, his mind exploded with visions. Stars flared, galaxies spun, and colossal structures rose against alien skies. He saw beings of impossible height, their eyes blazing with light, their voices thundering in languages he should not have understood but somehow did. He staggered back, breathless, but the visions didn't stop. They showed him wars fought across constellations, worlds burning, and finally a gate, a doorway between Mars and another realm, built long before humans had ever set foot on the red planet. The cavern wasn't just a hollow pocket of rock. It was a relic, a machine, a bridge. When the visions faded, Elias collapsed. By the time he crawled out of the shaft, the others were gone. Reporting the collapse to the overseers, he said nothing about what he had seen. He knew what corporations did with discoveries. They would strip it apart, weaponize it, and ignite wars across the solar system. So he kept the secret, returning alone night after night. Over weeks, he studied the symbols, gradually learning their patterns. The cavern responded to his touch as though it remembered him, as though it had been waiting for someone who could listen. Finally, after months of work, the chamber came alive. The walls vibrated, the patterns burned bright, and the air rippled as if reality itself was stretching. At the center of the chamber, a circle of light widened into a doorway. Elias, heart pounding, stepped through, and his life was forever changed. He emerged into a world so breathtaking it made him forget to breathe. Towering forests glowed with bioluminescent leaves. Rivers of silver water cut across emerald valleys, and the sky was painted green and gold with two moons hanging like watchful eyes. But what struck him most was the silence. This was no dead world, it pulsed with life. Strange creatures soared above him, their wings shimmering like glass, while others prowled the underbrush with feline grace. Elias stumbled forward, overwhelmed, feeling smaller than he ever had before. He wasn't alone. From the trees emerged figures, humanoid but not human. They were tall, their skin a pale silver, their eyes bright as stars. They spoke in melodic tones that his ears should not have understood, but the cavern's gift still lingered in his mind, translating. They called themselves the Aelari, a people older than human civilization, guardians of the knowledge hidden within the Martian gate. Elias expected them to treat him as an intruder, but instead they looked at him with awe. Their prophecies had spoken of a miner from the Red World who would awaken the bridge and stand between two destinies. For weeks, Elias lived among the Aelari. They taught him about the gates, remnants of an ancient network left by a civilization long gone. The gates linked worlds together, creating paths across galaxies faster than light. But with that power came great danger. Millennia ago, another species, the Drex, conquerors who thrived on destruction, had sought to seize the gates. The Aelari had fought them to a stalemate, but at terrible cost. Many gates were sealed, including the one on Mars. And now, as Elias listened, he realized why the tremors had returned. The Drex were stirring again. Elias could have turned away. He was just a miner after all. He had no army, no weapons, no authority. Yet the Aelari believed in him. Their seers claimed that humans carried something unique, resilience, an ability to endure where others broke. Elias doubted himself, but he could not ignore the fire building inside him. For years, he had lived forgotten and nameless. But here, on this alien world, he had a chance to matter, not for wealth, not for power, but to protect. When the Drex finally arrived, the skies burned. Their ships blotted out the twin moons, their machines scorched the forests, and their warriors marched like living shadows. Elias stood with the Aelari, wielding tools instead of weapons, his miner's drill reforged into something deadlier with alien technology. He was terrified, yet he refused to flee. "If we don't stand here," he said to the Aelari commander, "then there will be nowhere left to stand at all." The battle was chaos. Elias led small strikes, using his knowledge of tunnels and rock to ambush Drex patrols. He collapsed caverns on their machines, redirected rivers into their encampments, and used explosives meant for mining to bring down entire Drex war beasts. Slowly, against all odds, his tactics worked. The Drex were powerful, but they were not prepared for human stubbornness, nor for a man who had spent his life fighting the planet itself for survival. Word spread across the Aelari cities. The miner from Mars was turning the tide. Soon even human colonists, smugglers, explorers, and mercenaries who had stumbled through the gate rallied to his cause. Together, human grit and Aelari wisdom forged an unlikely alliance. Elias became the symbol of resistance, his name whispered not just as a man, but as a promise that even the smallest voice could shake empires. In the final battle, Elias faced the Drex warlord himself, a towering monster of armor and hatred. The fight was brutal. Elias's weapon shattered, his body broke, but he refused to kneel. With the last of his strength, he triggered a collapse that buried both him and the warlord beneath tons of stone. When the dust cleared, Elias was pulled from the rubble, battered but alive. The Drex, leaderless and broken, retreated into the void. Elias Kane returned to Mars, but he was no longer just a miner. He was a bridge between two worlds, a symbol that greatness can rise from the most unlikely places. The corporations still saw him as a laborer, but the Aelari named him Stonebearer, the one who carried the weight of two worlds and never faltered. His story spread across colonies and alien cities alike, inspiring generations. And though he returned to the mines deep beneath the red rock, Elias knew the truth. Sometimes heroes are not born in palaces or on battlefields. Sometimes they come from the dirt, carrying nothing but courage and the will to stand when no one else will.